We're countering with another question.
No. There's lots of reasons. From the age of 3, I was diagnosed with an illness. I spent my childhood in hospital fighting for my life, for the ability to walk.
Like, there's probably not a lot of corporate leaders out there who don't know who you are.
And so we had a huge construction business. We had 120 boys, I think, at one point, between predominantly Victoria and then Queensland. And then I got a call after my separation, said, we hear you're unemployed now, because I separated. I walked away from everything because I just
Not enough.
I was suicidal, so I needed to pull myself.
Everyone processes divorces differently.
12 months, 5 years. How are we going to achieve it?
Right.
Who's going to be part of that achievement? Who's going to help bring that to fruition?
You've gone into a lot of businesses. You've advised a lot of people over the years. Hello all.
We started.
Back again. We can start now. We can start whenever.
Have you actually started?
We need this. And today, we have the one, the only, Dimi Rokkos. How are you?
Oh, I'm good.
It is so good to see you today. Full disclosure, guys. We're actually dear friends. We've known each other for a couple of years. I have a full disclosure thing on this podcast. If I know someone I'm having on, I said, I really wanted to have Dimi on. Dimi and I go back 2 years. We met through the car community. I think as soon as we met, we got along straight away.
We did.
And I've been wanting to get you on the podcast, and today is that day. And I want today to speak about loads of things, and not to, small talk for too long, and make sure that we don't think. You've recently started a new job.
I have.
You are, to me, one of the leading people in finance in Australia, especially women's advocate finance.
Yeah. That's a huge compliment. I don't know that that's true, but thank you.
Well, to me, you are.
Thank you.
Like, when I think of private equity, private wealth management, I think of you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sure there are much more superior people, but that's okay. I'll take it. Thank you.
No, you're very welcome. So recently you've started a new firm.
Yes.
With a new firm.
Yep.
Who is that?
It's called Kofkin Bond & Co.
Okay. And what do you exactly do there?
Wow, this is a good little story because I don't have a financial planning background.
Yep.
So I'm learning the ropes. I'm started from ground zero and I'm building myself up again. But obviously I come in with great knowledge and experience personally and also through my profession of managing wealth. So, yeah.
Okay. With people watching this podcast, generally business content, recruitment content, we do that. What's your definition of managing wealth? And what is wealth to you?
What, just to me? Or, to me, wealth is creating a lifestyle that suits you and your family, whether that be to holiday or to put your kids through private schools or to eat organic food. It just depends on what you hold true to yourself.
With your client base, you have an exceptional energy about you. You come into a room, you lead it, you manage it.
Yeah.
That's what I love about you.
Thank you.
Okay. When you take over managing people's wealth, money, do you generally end up also taking over other areas and like giving advice? Do you find that it's hard not to become friends with these people? Because obviously you've got a business relationship and you need to have your business hat on.
So that's a really good question too. So one of the reasons why Tony Kofkin approached me is because of my soft skills and my personal, my ability to connect with people. I love people. I love learning about people. I've been through a lot, and so if I haven't experienced what they're going through, I'll put myself in their shoes to understand how they might be feeling. And so back to your question, is it more than just the wealth and the management? Absolutely.
Okay.
So wealth management definitely includes whatever they might be going through in that period of their life. Or it's more than just numbers. It's actually a personal experience.
Question I have for you: why are you so good at what you do? What is your X factor? Why is Dimi you are like one of the people that I know to go to in this area? Because you give so much advice. That's good advice. It's really fucking good advice.
Why? I'm sure there are better people out there, but passionate about helping people, and I think that's that's important. I want to help people. Doesn't matter whether you're a mum and dad that's starting out, and or if you've got a big, you're a high net wealth family.
Yep.
They're all equal to me. I want to help them. They'll have different challenges, which I'll be able to relate to, and then helping them achieve something. And we had a client come in. Tony had a client come in last week, which I sat in. Her husband unexpectedly passed away at 48 of a heart attack, and he was fit as a fiddle.
That's 3 years older than me.
Yeah, he was driving home, and he had a heart attack and had a car accident and died. And
terrible.
so they're the stories that I sit in, and I'm like, well, I want to help this woman. She's got 2 children, and her world has been turned upside down. Like, that is absolute tragedy. And now she's having to manage financial matters at home, which she's never done before, as well as 2 children, and then worrying about her future, which is, it's a lot. It's a lot for a woman to take.
Yeah, that's heavy. That's really heavy.
Yeah.
That's actually given me a lot to think about. So you obviously get a lot of fulfillment out of what you do.
Yes.
Okay. Really good. You're so good at it. How did you get into this industry?
I met Tony Kofkin last year. We both sat on a not-for-profit board. And just like you and he and I connected energetically and then professionally. I looked up to him as a mentor. So we had a few coffee catch-ups. By the end of last year, he approached me and said, with your personality, with your experience, life experience and professional experience, I think you would make a brilliant advisor. But I'd have to learn a few things and include a bit of study in there, which I thought I'd never do again, but, But it's like a for punishment. So I met with the CEO and the other 2 partners early this year, and it's important for me to connect with leadership, and the CEO was amazing. So I said yes, and here we are. It's like I've found my family. I love it.
So what did you study at uni?
Business accounting.
Why?
Why?
Were you bored?
Because...
What attracted you to business and accounting?
Because my sister studied it. She's a brilliant accountant, and I came from a traditional Greek family who wanted a lawyer, a doctor, or an accountant of some sort. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So you studied that. So what was your first job out of uni?
Well, I started working when I was 14, so...
I'm aware.
Yeah.
But our audience here is not aware of who you are.
I started working at 14. Well, I wanted to. My mum was crying, and she's like, "No, you don't need to work. We've got money." And I said, "Well, I know we've got money, and I'm very grateful, but I'd like to earn my own money and be my own person." So I started working on a Friday night at 14 after school in a fruit shop, and I did that for 10 years. I had a couple of jobs actually in food, retail sort of space, and then after uni, I worked in an accounting firm, and that was with Anna and Frank Petrozelli. So
A big shout out to them if they're watching.
Yes, big shout out to them. They were my first bosses and they were amazing. So
okay, so you start your career, you've worked your way up, because as I said, I consider you someone of extreme knowledge. Like we've had deep conversations over the years, okay, and they've been really engaging, and we do that. How do you think women in finance can be better represented? Well, we're doing a good job at the moment, we're not doing a good job. How do you feel women in finance could be better represented?
That's a good question.
What's your honest opinion? And you can swear, James can make this edit out, we can make this just completely seamless. So you can go absolutely ape shit right now.
Women in finance.
Yep.
I actually have a problem with women, like they don't support each other. Don't cut that out.
No, we're so keeping that in.
No, James, please cut that out.
I have feedback from my female staff about exactly the same thing. They've been bullied on site. I couldn't agree with you more. I think women need to support women more.
I think let's take the finance out.
Yeah, no, okay,
any industry.
Now we're getting somewhere.
My actual little beef is that we don't support and celebrate ourselves. and we're out there fighting for women's rights, and we have International Women's Day, but every day I'm out there, and more often than not, I will feel threatened, or no, I don't feel threatened. That was a mistake, but I don't feel threatened. I actually laugh it off. But women don't support you; they try to bring you down. If you're doing well, they will try to bring you down, and they haven't stopped to ask you the question, "How are you? How have you gotten to where you are?" And that's what pisses me off, because I didn't magically wake up and everything was perfect in my life. I've worked goddamn hard for it.
Extremely hard. And we're going to discuss that today.
Yeah, I've worked very hard for it. And then to have another woman who, is envious of that, for whatever reason, to try and bring you down is actually quite sad. It's very sad. Come to me and ask me, how am I going? What am I doing? And I will help you. If you see me doing something that you're not across or you want to achieve, I'll help you. If I see someone who's doing better than me, male or female, I will applaud them. I love it. I actually enjoy watching people succeed. So when people come at me, I'm just like, why? Why is this happening?
I think people come at you because of your aura, your energy. You know, you have what a lot of people want, but you have worked extremely hard for it. And I guess people watching this podcast, they want to know lots of things. But one of the things they want to know is what makes you you, and like how did you become this resilient? How did you become this strong?
I've asked people this question as well, and I'll come back to the reasons why.
Okay, we're countering it with another question.
No. There's lots of reasons. From the age of 3, I was diagnosed with an illness. I spent my childhood in hospital fighting for my life, for the ability to walk, to be just normal. I've gone into high school with minimal education, and not to anyone's fault, but I had to bring myself up to speed in year 7 so that I wasn't behind. Somehow I've managed to do that. I've managed to get a university degree. I've done all these things on my own, which is not to anyone's fault. My family is wonderful and hugely supportive. I've done all these things by myself. Then I got married. I'm not going to pay him out, but I have 2 beautiful children with him, but that was incredibly difficult, incredibly difficult. And to be fair, it still is to this day, 10 years later, post our separation.
You guys did do a lot together, but also you've continued your trajectory in the corporate world of Melbourne. Like, there's probably not a lot of corporate leaders out there who don't know who you are.
So we started our construction business, and so we had a huge construction business. We had 120 boys, I think, at one point, between predominantly Victoria and then in Queensland. And then I got a call after my separation, said, we hear you're unemployed now, because I separated. I walked away from everything because I just
Fair enough.
I was suicidal, so I needed to walk away from everything and just not fool myself.
Everyone processes divorces differently. I processed mine over a 3-year period, and I've been divorced now 15 years. Very civil with my ex-wife. It takes time, but also it builds character and resilience for you to weirdly draw on it at times in your life when you don't even think you've got that there, right?
Yep.
You've got the call. You've started off this consultancy.
It was ground zero in Deloitte.
Yep. So tell us about your Deloitte days.
Deloitte was hard.
Why?
They were long days. I was a full-time single parent because...
Tell me about your Deloitte days. So I hear Deloitte is a great culture, but everyone works really hard.
Yeah, you work really, really hard. But I love working hard. So I don't know.
What do you love about working hard?
It's like bittersweet. It's like you're being punished, but I also love it. And I learnt so much. And I made great friends and connections. So I don't know.
That's, I truly believe that if you want to be a success, people have done they've got their own odysseys and their own paths, and I'm not saying this is the only way, okay? But I'm a firm believer of working for a big firm in your 20s and your 30s.
Yes.
Gather that experience, that knowledge base, and then go start something. A lot of entrepreneurs have just, especially in the age of the smartphone and socials and, the conversations me and James have is like, they've become, millionaires overnight in their 20s. But I personally don't feel that is the right way forward to be an entrepreneur. I think the best way to be an entrepreneur is to absorb, come up with an idea with your knowledge base and present that to the market. And I think that's what you're doing at the moment.
Well, I just roll with the punches and I do the best that I can.
You can, but like...
there's no one size fit all. I agree with you. People need to go and roll their sleeves up. Sometimes it becomes a little bit too easy and then they don't know how to manage it and potentially may lose it as they get older. If they roll their sleeves up and do some dirty work, then they respect success a hell of a lot more.
Why do you think there's such a culture about, rock star status about being an entrepreneur? But no, to me, everyone wants the title, but no one wants to do the hard work.
Yes. I don't know, you tell me.
No, I think what do you feel it is? Because you manage big portfolios. You've advised on some very large corporate structures. Your knowledge base on things is insane. But that's all come from being present and working really hard.
Yeah.
So why do you think people are adverse to working hard at the moment and they just think that they just want to become YouTubers?
Because we're raising an entitled society. Everyone just thinks that it comes easy. I don't know, like it's just everyone's on easy street for some reason.
What do you love about business?
Business, it's fun. It's evolving. Ideas. You bring people together.
Okay. With business, right? Mm-hmm. I know a lot of, you know what I
love, Tavis?
Here we go.
And this is like, I have to keep myself a little bit quiet. But like, you go into a business.
Please don't.
No, you go into a business and people have been working there for 5, 10, 20 years, and they do a wonderful job. But because they've been in there for so long, they become a little bit complacent and they're operating at the same levels. And you walk in and all of a sudden, bang, you can see instant things that are just little tweaks which would change, at huge levels, the operations and the efficiencies and the revenue. And that excites me. You walk in, it's like, wow, we could just do this. It would take a whole of, 6 hours and we've automatically changed something.
Okay, so
that excites me.
Okay. What are some of the common issues that you're seeing with these businesses that you're visiting and re-energising?
Well, this is not from a wealth perspective. This is when you walk into a business.
Yeah, I'm talking when you walk into a business.
Basics, it's just basic stuff for efficiency is having a procedure. Okay, well, let's start from the top. A business plan. Most businesses don't even have a business plan. They don't even know what they're working towards. We need to have actually a goal. What are we trying to do here? That's from a high leadership perspective. When you walk in at a office space every day, there's no structure, there's no procedure. It's just, we've been doing this for the last 10 years, let's keep doing it, it works.
Yep.
But have you looked at efficiencies? Have you looked at technology? Are you on top of the new technology? Technology is evolving every day. You can't look at it, you couldn't have looked at it 12 months ago, 18 months ago and think that you're ahead of the pack. You're not. You're getting left behind. AI is a huge thing. I'm a little bit old school, so I'm slowly getting my head around it, but it's a tool we need to use.
Okay, so when you're seeing these businesses and they've been doing it the same way for the last 10 years, right? What's something that our viewers could learn from you today that you feel that is like the number one thing a business owner or management team should do in their business to improve something straight away? Because you manage money, you invest the money.
There's so many things, Tavis. There's so many things. First of all, when you have have a leadership team, oh my God, you're starting to get my blood boiling.
Good.
When you have a leadership team, that's what they are. They're leaders. They're role models. They don't necessarily need to have all the answers, but they need to model a behaviour within themselves, which will then flow through a company. Okay. So if you have a leader who, and I'm not giving any examples.
No, we don't want.
This is just what
This is just a chat. This is Tab's little video chat.
I'm not picking or thinking of anyone in specific, but you need to have a leader who is exactly that, a leader. If they aren't behaving in the correct manner, they're going to have a toxic culture. Full stop.
Okay, let's talk about that more. Toxic cultures I totally get it. Done. Why does your blood boil when we start talking about inefficiencies in businesses?
Historically, I'd walk in and be like, oh my God, we're going to do this. Like, I'm just like, we're going to do this.
Yeah, yep.
Whereas now I'm a little older and I'm like, I'll diplomatically say,
Are you 21?
Have we looked at doing it, from a different perspective, or have we looked at it from a different lens, rather than being as because I'm like, I want it done now. I don't want to talk about it for 6 weeks or 3 weeks or 3 months, and then maybe next year we look at it. Nah, let's do it now. So now I'm a bit more diplomatic. So I walk in and I'm like, oh, have we thought about this? And potentially, if we look at this, we could change this. And I'm a bit more.
I think you're being far too modest. Far too modest. Give me when you've turned a business around, what's improved within the business? James is on the edge of his seat here going, this is about to go fucking ape shit.
I think for me, what's improved, firstly, I do bring an energy into the space. So that is...
yes, you do.
I'm very well aware of it now. I'm very confident in that now. Before, I didn't understand it. I was like, oh... You
don't know what you don't know.
No. So I'd bring a different energy and potentially a different life to a space. Okay. So it's encouraging. It encourages people.
When you're consulting to businesses, just to confuse, at the moment you're working for your new firm?
I'm really as Tony Kofkin's understudy until I get up to speed, yes.
Managing people's money.
Yes.
Private wealth.
Yes.
Before then, you had a consultancy where you would sit on boards, non-profit companies.
I sat on a couple.
Yep.
Not for profits.
Giving business advice, and mentorship advice. Because of the experience that you built up. And you've got a wealth of experience.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And you come into people's businesses and you see them in a completely different light. Or you see, you bring money on board, manage it in a completely different way, make people feel warm and excited. Do you find, though, the reason why a business is flat, non-growth, is it because the managing director is reluctant to change things, or the managing director has lost love with his business, or what are you seeing as some of the reasons why a business goes flat?
All those reasons. So I met with someone last month or the month before, and he was looking for inspiration because he had fallen out of love with his business and what he was doing. So he was looking for inspiration and talking to different people, which was Tony, and I happened to be a part of that conversation, very lucky, fortunate to be a part of it. And we Tony gave him inspiration and drive to look at different channels within the same business, which has given him a new renewed energy. So that's one. If we're looking at directors, I'm going to talk from my own personal experience.
I want to talk from your
I'm answering the question. My own personal experience, what happens is, from business, you bring your personal life into it, which is very difficult to split. And I'm talking from my own experience. You bring your own personal life, whatever's going on in your personal life, and then all of a sudden, everything turns to shit. And I'm talking about my business with my ex-husband, and that's what happened.
Is it also that as the market changes, they don't keep up with current market trends?
Look, most entrepreneurs are on top of that stuff.
I thought so too, until I met some that weren't.
Yeah, I'm sure they're out there. But
it's like, I've met a few entrepreneurs that were so successful with a way of doing something, a process, that they
got left behind.
They got left behind because they just wouldn't. It's not that they didn't want to adapt. It's like they were just so worried that if they changed something in the magic formula, the whole thing would fucking come down like a crashed deck of cards.
Well, are they entrepreneurs then?
Okay.
An entrepreneur would take that risk.
When do you think an entrepreneur stops being an entrepreneur and just becomes an MD founder?
then...
But does it happen? What I'm trying to say is entrepreneur is one thing, starts the business, sets it up, motivates, brings everyone on board, right? Mm-hmm. At what point does that entrepreneur become an MD, or does that entrepreneur need to leave, bring someone else in to run that business? Because that's where I think you come in.
Yeah, correct. So, look, I've seen multiple examples. If that MD stays in the business and they put someone else in there, it can either go one of two ways, really, really good, and I've seen great examples of it.
Yep.
Or it can go the other way, where they just don't have enough
energy?
Like an MD or someone who started that business.
Okay. The next question I've got for you. Mm-hmm. Why have you seen so many of those transitions work so well, and why have you seen some of those transactions not so work so well? Is it because the entrepreneur doesn't know how to let go, or is it because the new person coming in doesn't know how to say no to the entrepreneur? Or am I completely full of shit?
No, it's multi. Firstly, has the MD put the right person in that role? Because you like them, you're friends with them, or they have a great resume. Is it the right fit for your business? Is it the right fit for your staff? Is it the right fit for the industry? You have to look at the person fundamentally first. If you have a great resume, it means absolute rubbish.
I don't even read resumes.
You shouldn't even.
Trust me, in 25 years of selling people, I very rarely read CV. I'll skim them, right? But what's that thing?
And then if you have picked the wrong person, they will be a yes man. And a yes man will get you in trouble, because if that MD, who potentially may still have that beast entrepreneur, wants to do a deal or a transaction, and you keep getting a yes man, you're potentially going to find yourself in strife. You need someone who's going to be objective and can be devil's advocate, do the DD and say, actually, we're not going to go to this path. So,
I think you should write a book, The Laws According to Dimi.
Yeah.
Business Laws According to Dimi.
I just want to be in government, actually.
You'd be so good as a
Prime Minister.
Prime Minister, fuck yeah. I think you'd be doing a better job than what we've currently got.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Oh, come on, we're going to get started on politics.
I shed so many tears. It's like, what are we doing?
How many... I think you're living your true purpose. And to me, that's managing, advising, conducting.
Because it's got people. So before I was in finance, which did not serve my soul, my why, my purpose in life, it did me well, and I learnt so much from everybody, and I'm very, very grateful. And there are some people, when you asked me that question before, there are some people that I think of that inspire me, and also I did take things from, and Peter Pagonis at Deloitte was one. So it's very fortunate that he knew who I was, and I even shared breakfasts with him on occasion. He was a tremendous person, just so intelligent, so calm, and always so generous with his time and his information, his knowledge with me. I've worked stupid hours in a fruit shop as a child to my early 20s. I got married, I worked in an accounting firm, I learnt stuff, I met great people, I took stuff in from there. I then went into my own business, which has a whole level of different complexity. Yes, my family had their own, my parents had their own trusts and business, but I wasn't a part of it. I was just a child. So having it myself with my ex-husband, being a new mum with my daughter at the time, having those stresses, financial, personal, and, just so much going on, which is, a whole different podcast. And then going into Deloitte and learning so much, it's brought me to this stage where I was so blessed, and I mentioned this before, that I sat on that board because I was kind of a little bit lost in between. I took some time out to be a mum. I took some time out, and just to be a mum and see my kids, because I have worked full time and I have done everything from a physical perspective on my own.
And that's when I met you, actually.
Yep. And so then I sat on this board, this not-for-profit, which both Tony and I didn't sit on for too long because it wasn't the right fit for us. And
I hear that a lot.
All of those little moments in my life led up to someone saying to me, I actually think you're going to be a brilliant advisor, and it incorporates everything that I love, and the first one being people. We're helping people. And one of the things that I admire about the firm and why I know it's a good fit for me is that he was legitimate when he said we will not accept anything that doesn't align with our values and our morals, whether it be a client or an investment. So that is perfect for me. We discussed somebody and I said, I don't particularly want to engage or do business with this particular person. I gave him the reasons why, and he said, I love that you brought that up to me. Done. And that was the end of that discussion. And so everything in my life has brought me to this stage where someone said to me, I think this is going to be the right fit for you. And like I said, it incorporates people, which I love meeting people. It doesn't matter whether you're 5. I love children, so that's my weakness.
You're
children.
awesome.
I love children. It doesn't matter whether you're 5 or you're 105, whether you're the CEO or you're admin or the cleaner, you've got something to share with me and I want to know it because you've got experience that, will help me learn and grow. So then we go to business because there's always going to be a component of business in there. So the people, we're coming back to the people, sorry. We're helping somebody, which I feel is my journey on this planet, to help people. So
I would agree with that.
Yeah. I've been through so much and I would rather help somebody than ever watch someone go through any form of pain or trauma. If I could stop it or help them or guide them in any form or shape or manner. I'm not going to save everybody. Don't misinterpret that, Tavis. My time is precious.
No, that wasn't that.
But you took a big sigh.
I took a big sigh because I would love there to be less trauma in the world, but my sigh was as I was listening to you that I believe some of the most successful moments of my life have come from the
trauma and the pain.
Trauma and the pain.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think TRS would have existed today if I didn't go through a 4-year liquidation.
No.
Okay, so I feel that you have a very successful formula to business and life. That is, learn when you're young, absorb.
You're learning
hard,
every day. The day you stop learning, Tavis, is the day you're dead. Someone said, when I was doing my executive MBA, my daughter mentioned it to them, and I won't say who it was, that mum's studying, and she's like, oh, she's too old to be studying. And it's like, and I said to my daughter, honey, don't listen to that. That's just awful commentary and feedback. It doesn't matter whether you're studying or you're reading or whatever it is that you want to do to expand your knowledge and your mind. You're never too old to learn, whether it be from a book, academics, or a person.
I refer to myself at dinner parties as a street educated hood rat, which confuses people. Yeah, I definitely went the TAFE route. So I have a diploma in hospitality management and a diploma in aquaculture. So I'm good at hospo and I'm good with fish tanks. And I've been working in recruitment for 25 years. And all that experience and, hospitality, the time I was working in aquaculture, you pick up stuff and, you develop into the person you want to. And I'm very happy with the person I'm in my 40s. I'm very different to the person I was in my 30s.
Yes.
I don't even recognise the person I was in my 20s, So
I was married.
So was I. Like, Jesus, man, that was...
I had a baby when I was 27, 28. Yeah, 28.
You have the luxury now of your children almost being grown-ups, and you can change locks. And
my daughter, but no, I don't want my babies to leave. My daughter's like, oh, I want to study overseas when I finish year 12, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll support you, darling. And inside, I'm like, my heart's breaking to a million pieces. She's like, you can come visit. I'm like, oh, it's not too bad.
So
travel.
Okay, I have another question for you.
Yep.
If you had to set a set of rules for business owners and advisors to operate by.
Yes.
And I'll make it easy. Top rules, 5 rules that businesses have to operate by in your eyes.
Oh.
We can go to 10, but you tell me your top.
10.
If you want to go to 10, I'm saying give me 5. If you can't give me 5, give me 3. Give me 3, give me 5, give me whatever you want of a business owner must do this. An entrepreneur must do this. An entrepreneur must know when it's time to hand over the reins, or they need to stop becoming the entrepreneur and become the managing director. Because you can't be an entrepreneur for the whole odyssey of your business.
You cannot, no.
Okay, and that's what I want to know from you. Why? What are your rules? Like, if we had to go bang, 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 put a poster on the wall, when anyone walks into a business that you've advised, what's on the wall?
Firstly is the business plan.
Okay, you've brought that up a couple of times.
Yeah.
What needs to be in the business plan?
Everything from the go, as detailed.
What's missing in the business plans that you see a lot of?
What are we trying to achieve now, today? 12 months, 5 years. How are we going to achieve it?
Right.
Who's going to be part of that achievement? Who's going to help bring that to fruition? We need to find the right team. Like we've spoken about this before, the right people. What else do we need? There's lots of little things.
What are those
structures? The structures in...
Tell me about the structure, because I've had other guests on this podcast, and they've said structure, but we've always skipped over it.
No, it's important.
Tell me about the structure.
The structure, not only from a people perspective, and I don't for a minute, and I do want to mention something else. Please. I don't for a minute believe that because I'm at a higher level that you look up to me. I don't believe in that, but to some degree you do. So there needs to be a level of managing and supporting and mentoring. Not because I'm superior or better, but because I have a little bit more experience from whatever component that is. Structure in the way we process, it needs to be looked at. So this is where we become complacent and we start to do the same stuff day in, day out, day in, day out. And all of a sudden, we're doing it from like 10 years ago and we could have done it in 30 seconds, but we're spending 6 hours.
Yep.
That is the biggest killer that I see. Biggest killer. And in that, you should be all over this stuff, Tavis. This is like
I'm asking you. I'm asking you the questions.
It's like, okay, we bring in we're onboarding a new staff member, but we've got no training. It's not the first person they've onboarded. There's no training. There's no formal procedure on how to onboard a new staff member.
I tell you what, I did the onboarding at TRS. It's funny enough, we're now just in the process of doing an AI manual, because every time we do something, we change it, upgrade it. Okay, so there's 3. You said before you wanted to come back to a point and tell the story.
Yeah, sorry. No, well, that's 3.
No need to be sorry.
So, there's so many things. If you're starting a new business, have you had the right advice in terms of your structures?
You mean trust versus sole trader versus... Yep.
Shares, potential partnerships, JVs, which I can help you with if there's a partnership with your buy-sell agreement. So just a little plug for us. That's something we do.
That's fine. I'm going to discuss the services with you. But what I want is people...
These are the things. You've got to work out your structure. Who, how, why, and what. Okay? And then you flow down. So, and then you've got to make sure you've got all your dots... Or your I's dotted and your T's crossed in terms of legalities, and if you're in financial services, in terms of your engagement documents, so you got the right insurances in place. Again, this is...
So what you're saying is your circle of influence needs to be correct. So you need to be getting the right advice.
Your structure needs to be right. If you build a house from the top down, it's not going to... You need to have your foundations.
What happens when you come across a business that's had the wrong advice? It's got the wrong structure. It's got the wrong JV agreement in there. There's been a fucking fallout between 2 of the owners. One of the owners has thrown his chair through his glass door and it's landed basically in the other MD's office. And like, what do you do in these situations?
I've never had one. I'd like to see one though. That would be fun.
Oh, I love talking. We are filming this on a Friday, so I love talking hypotheticals.
What would you do?
What would you do?
What would I do?
You're coming in as an advisor to sort out this clusterfuck of a burning management structure. What would you do?
Well, what are their roles? Are MDs?
They're MDs, they're joint venture guys, they started the business together, they wrote their agreement up on the back of a beer coaster after a couple of Carlton drafts. They've been in business for 2 years. The first year and a bit has been highly successful. They've made some money. They've been on a few holidays.
Can I phone a friend? Can I phone Tony?
No, I want to know what you do.
Tony, what would you do now? What would I do? Firstly, probably speak to them individually. Why they've come apart.
Yep.
And if it can be resolved. If it can't be resolved, then we get lawyers involved and we split things up.
When you see JVs going south?
Simple stuff. Keep it
simple.
Is
it always a contract in your experience? Because you've done it all.
Tried to set one up yesterday, but
Do you see it
for myself? Or
from a
for
contract?
Yeah.
Do you see it from a contractual point of view, or is it a clash of personalities, or is it one business owner has decided they're fucked and don't want to do this shit anymore? What are you seeing?
It'll be a clash. It'll be a clash of something.
Okay.
Personalities. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Clash of personalities.
People change. You know, it's like with marriages. You think, till death do us part. So what's different in business?
I always say that, you know, my TRS is on its third odyssey at the moment, and we're going into our fourth odyssey very soon. Like in the next month, I've definitely got some things to tell the market about updates at TRS.
That's exciting.
It is. You know, we just turned 8. I'm 45. You know, I've been in recruitment basically 25 years. So, you know, we're changing up a few things with the firm. Definitely been doing more media. But where do you see your role evolving? Because as business evolves, as AI comes in, new systems, procedures, where are you going with your advisory?
You don't, me personally or the business? So you don't give your secrets until you've executed. So can we do this in like 3 years when I've hit my target in my...
I love that. You don't give your secrets until you execute.
Well, because you're...
Well, I want people leaving this wanting more, knowing more about you.
They do. They want to know what's going to happen in 3 years.
I believe... Okay, so my prediction is Melbourne went through a massive correction in the last 2 years.
Yes.
Okay, I believe we're at the bottom of that correction, and we've actually started to climb back up.
Oh God, can't get any further down, could we? Probably. Let's hope not to have.
The Victorian government could default on its debt.
Oh no.
You know,
Don't get me started on politics. We'll be here forever.
That's okay. So we're okay. Let's ask a question.
Yes.
We'll connect the dots looking back. Where has the Victorian government gone wrong?
Where's it gone right?
And what has it done right, and where can it correct?
I don't know what it's done right. All I'm seeing is fault, which is human nature. Okay. Human nature to see the fault in everything. What's it done wrong? COVID, Daniel Andrews, disaster. The man needs to be punished for what he did to us.
Well, he can't get a golf membership, so I think
I think he got it. I heard he got it.
He got it?
I don't know. James, did he get it?
James will do some
fierce
Googling here to find out. Okay.
That's the first problem that we encountered. And then for some, I don't know, I can't understand. Reason we put him back in, we put the Labor government and him back in power. Like what?
Because people fear change. Like they better than the devil you know.
Herd mentality. Honestly, it just appalls me.
Do you know what I also down to?
I am a property owner, and land tax is punishing me. Why should it be punishing us?
Okay.
It makes you not want to invest, and now we've got a government that it's not going to impact everyone. It's going to impose taxes over $3 million on investments. Like we're getting taxed on tax. Like we're getting double taxed. It's actually mind blowing.
We have a COVID pandemic to pay for. But
again, back to the first thing that I said, Daniel Andrews. And the other thing, and this is my biggest beef right now, is youth crime in this state.
In every state.
Youth crime is just rife, and we have no laws to put them away. I'm sorry, I'm a parent, and the worst thing that my children would do is leave a pair of socks under their bed. They're not carrying machetes and breaking into homes to steal cars. Had it happened to me twice.
Yeah, that's nuts. Getting back to the herd mentality when people vote, and I've thought about this a lot, and the only thing that I keep coming back to is people have such a disinterest in politics now because it's just so uninteresting. Mm-hmm. And because voting is compulsory in Australia, they just vote for whoever's currently in power. Like, there is no difference between Labor and Liberal.
An element of that as well, yeah.
How do we get we've just had a federal election, right? We've had, I think there was 18.3 or 18.5 million people registered to vote. It was the largest voting eligible population ever.
Ever.
Okay? Mm-hmm. Ever. You explain the election results to me differently then. People don't know who to vote for because...
It's all these youngsters that saw the don't know much.
No. But like, I don't like.
Sorry,
but
I do have youngster friends.
The thing is, right?
And but they don't.
So people in my office get their news from TikTok. I've had a lot of conspiracy theories come across the shop floor at TRS Resourcing, and I'm like, I listen to it for 3-4 minutes, and then I'll go, hold on, where are we getting this? Where are we getting these facts? Where are we getting this information from? TikTok. And I'm like, TikTok? And they're like, yeah, TikTok.
See?
Like,
the youth.
So, but how do we get the youth more involved in what you do? Consultancy, business, finance. How do we get them more involved in what you do? Because you are a fucking rock star in this industry.
It needs to happen in our schools.
Okay, tell me more about that.
It needs to happen at a school level. So I talk to my kids about this stuff, and they're very fortunate that they have a father who's,
I thought that was on the no list.
We
had dinner about this.
I'm not going to go there. He's a businessman, so they're very lucky they've got exposure to two people that are. But in hindsight, maybe that's why we didn't click, because we're both
opposites too. I tell you what, the most successful relationships I've had have been complete opposites.
Well, anyways, so they're very fortunate that I talk to them from a young age. My daughter, 2 years ago, during COVID, I encouraged her to start a business, talking about it. During COVID, she was bored with the school program because that was rubbish, enrolled herself into an economics course at some university in the US, which was free. So from a young age, I'm talking to them about these things in life, including taxes, and so they've got exposure to it. And like I said, they've got a father who they don't see all that much, but he is a businessman as well. So she then researched her own, she saves her money, she researched her own bank account, best paying interest bank account, and then we went to the bank and put her money in. So she's learning from a young age. But at school level, they don't know any of that stuff.
Is it because the school curriculum has been left behind and really smartphones, the internet is the new education platform?
Yes.
Am I going to see you on TikTok promoting your private wealth business?
Me?
Yeah, and your consultancy business.
We're going to get there.
Are you going to get there?
But you're just bagging out TikTok, and now you want me to go on TikTok?
I'm not bagging out TikTok.
You just watch TikTok just when they get their information on.
I've had some interesting. Listen, I've had good news from TikTok. Like, TikTok's fine; it's not banned in the office. Like, I don't ban it. I have every streaming service under the sun in the office.
So do I. It's great entertainment.
And then I watch it in the background. Okay, and I'm not dissing TikTok. I'm just like the rise of fake news, of conspiracy. I've had some interesting conspiracy theories, and I'm like, current court cases, conspiracy theories, this and that. I'm like, where the fuck are you hearing this from? Like, and what I'm trying to get at is, like, with all this and interest in that, and then people having to be forced to vote in Australia, right? And us as business owners, and we're trying to, we have our own, business owners and entrepreneurs have our own agendas, right? Mm-hmm. My personal view is, like, there's a lot of compliance, there's a lot of tax laws, there's a lot of this at the state level and at a federal level, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. What my personal view is on this is, in order for someone to be successful entrepreneur these days, you have to have a circle of influence.
Yes,
people like yourself in this circle of interest.
Very selective on that influence circle.
Exactly.
Very.
But as you develop as an entrepreneur, so does your circle.
Correct.
Okay.
And it becomes smaller and smaller.
Fucking tell me about it. Jesus. And secondly, right, and more importantly, that entrepreneur needs to have a personal brand.
Yes.
And eventually, whatever that entrepreneur has built, founded, developed, they have to leave. See, I'll give you an example. Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook, Meta, everything like that. Is he an entrepreneur or is he a CEO? I call him a CEO. I think his entrepreneur days are done. He's entrepreneurial within Facebook, right?
Yep.
But, you know, he's the CEO. He bought a $300 million US super yacht. Like, he's changed his image. He's massively all about personal brand. So that's his way of being an entrepreneur. I'm kind of the same. I'm not that I feel that my entrepreneur days are behind me, and I haven't got another 2, 3, 4 startups. Are you looking
to me for motivation?
I'm looking for you.
So I love this. This is my jam.
to tell the audience more about what you actually offer people when you advise them on their personal wealth and also their exit structure, their exit strategy, their management when it's time to hand over the reins?
Yeah, so there's so much there to unpack.
Okay, let's unpack it.
If I look at you for an example, so
Thank you.
Yes, you are in an MD role and you're not actively looking to... No. So you're just cruising right now?
Cruising, developing the business. TRS took a big hit last year. We lost 2 big contracts. This year we're looking at getting new stuff.
Yeah.
It's more that...
It's kind of a common theme, actually, that businesses, I've been talking to a few lately, and it's kind of a common theme that lost 1 or 2 big contracts and they're trying to pivot at the moment to see how to get back to that.
The trajectory of TRS was this, it was growing 20% a year until last year, and we probably lost 30%.
Okay.
And then we zipped back up, and now we're there. Now, we've got good management structure. We've got all that in place. What I've been able to connect the dots backwards and acknowledge that I didn't replace staff quick enough. I didn't go after new contracts quick enough. I didn't go after new areas to grow into because I was trying to steady what the hell I had at the moment. Plus, I had a few things going on in my personal life. So which all affected.
So you see that underlier right there? Your personal life. And that's really, really what I said earlier.
Yep.
And having the right person by your side. I can't stress that enough. Having the right man or woman by your side can either make or break you in business. In any aspect of life, but absolutely can make or break you in business. And that's probably why everything else started to take a back seat, because you were going through your own personal... Isn't that what I said to you earlier?
Yes, but...
Thank you for proving my point.
I think, yeah.
And so, can I...
You can, yes.
Can I,
yes,
from the outside in, TRS... you could have a fantastic team.
Which we do.
But I don't really know them. I follow you on every social platform. I've seen a couple of pictures. I'm giving you feedback now. I don't really know them. You could have some star performers out there that could be going out and winning clients, but who are they?
Yeah, they're a bit camera shy.
Well...
You've heard it now here first, us TRS. Dimi's coming in to shake things up.
So you either just need to be comfortable with yourself. I'm camera shy. Am I a big poster on social media?
No.
Absolutely not. I'm the most private person you'll ever meet, but here I am.
I couldn't agree more.
Yep.
So my odyssey to date with this podcast was... We started off doing some headshots with Jane.
Do you want some more free advice? No.
Yeah, I fucking love it.
I need to come in and spend a few hours and look at a few numbers. And
No, absolutely.
That was what I was thinking the other day. It's like TRS, we know Tavis, and you're wonderful, great. But you need to have some other people out there representing TRS.
What other advice would you give managing directors, ex-entrepreneurs like me? Your advice, not what you think the firm wants you to say, what the market expectations are. What's your personal advice?
Well, it just depends on what's the scenario.
Whatever, just let's make a hypothetical.
Yeah.
We've got the 2 MDs. We've got the 2, the shit's hit the fan.
Yeah.
They're fighting. They've created...
So first up, when you're starting in any form of partnership, you've got to think of the divorce, the separation. So that's the first thing. If you're going into business with somebody, you've got to work out what the exit strategy is. So if you haven't done that and we find yourself in a situation where now you're going through a divorce settlement, which...
Not to my knowledge. I don't think.
No, but I'm saying a partnership, business partnership is like going into marriage.
Yeah, I've never done it. I've always founded singular businesses. I've never... Not to say I would never do it, but to find a partner. I got very close with Rachel, my CFO.
Yeah.
But we've never ever gone into a formal partnership because just the liability around employment liability around a recruitment company. I'm happy to sign up to it. Industrial manslaughter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But Rachel's never been comfortable. So I got very close with it. I have a working partnership with Rachel, circle of influence. Definitely, we're very polar opposite. But I've personally never been able to find a business partner, and I've had good friends go into business partnerships that have just turned completely fucking toxic.
Yeah.
More times than not, and
more often than not, correct.
Yeah. And that's really good businesses are fucked up because
sometimes you might bring the wrong person in with a great intention, and it ends up destroying the business.
How many times do you see that?
Well, I see often, but it depends on how quickly it's identified. And
I got a really good question for you.
Yeah.
What's entrepreneurs, business owners' biggest sins?
Biggest sins?
Yeah, biggest sins in business. Business.
Let's
keep this a business track.
Biggest sins in business?
Yep. Yeah, things that are big fucking no-no. Like, but you see it all the time, you know.
Ripping money out of the business.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that.
Personal money, Div 7A loans.
Okay,
Yep.
the old D loan?
Yep.
Yeah, I've done that a few times.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. It's so... the D loan is... so what I'm talking about, people have no idea, is director's loans.
Yeah.
Okay? All good when the business is going well.
Correct.
You can convert a director's loan into a dividend so simply. Easy, clean, everything. It's when the business isn't doing well and you've got a D loan there.
Yep, you got to pay it back.
You got to pay it back. Right. What's another sin?
Director's sins.
Directors, entrepreneur sins. You've gone into a lot of businesses. You've advised a lot of people over the years, even in your Deloitte days. You know, it's what makes you so good at what you do now, because you've had so much experience in other areas that you now present. So when you have a client that comes to you to manage their private money, you've come from so much experience that you can talk practically and honestly and presently. So my question to you is, what are a lot of we all fuck up, we're humans, right? But what do you see, especially with directors, entrepreneurs, that are big fucking no-nos?
I don't really see anything that's like illegal, if that's what we're
No,
talking
I'm not
about.
talking legal. I'm talking...
They're the big sins that I'm like,
I'm talking about...
I haven't seen tax fraud. Well, I have, but I'm not going to talk to that because you'll piece that one together.
Whoa. No, it's more about, the sins are, they're not present enough in the office. Or their company's not at the size where they think the company will operate normally without them being there. Mm-hmm. Okay, they're not a Microsoft, they're not a Meta, they haven't got that structure.
I've seen that. Or the other extreme is being dismissive and not giving a crap about anyone in the company.
Yep, I've seen that.
Which is also, very. It's awful, actually. I don't like people being treated like that. So.
I think it comes from a place of insecurity. I think entrepreneurs make great entrepreneurs, start the company, start it up. The second you start employing lots of people, that's when generally the wheels start falling.
Well, the reality of it is an entrepreneur shouldn't be managing people.
At what stage?
Not all of them have the soft skills and the personality.
I've asked you this question a couple of times. I'm going to ask it a different way now.
Yeah.
When should an entrepreneur hand over the reins? At what stage of the company? Is it at X revenue? Is it at head count?
Look, it's definitely at revenue. When they can afford to hand it over. You're an entrepreneur,
so regardless
you're an
of the trajectory, if you can afford to bring someone in.
Bring someone in.
Why?
Because it gives you the capacity to do what you are good at. You're an ideas person, if you're an entrepreneur, to drive your inspirations, whatever that might look like. And you have someone that's doing all the dirty work. If I could afford it, I would do it.
What happens when an entrepreneur pushes back on you, on your advice? Do you fight it, or you just send an invoice? I'm talking to you personally.
Well, you can't fight it. You're going to advise them and give them the best advice and your recommendation. At the end of the day, it's their choice. So they make the final call.
Do you feel that? I just asking a question here, that you've been bought in to advise a company. Mm-hmm. It's a big company, and everyone's at the boardroom table, and you've done a presentation and you've done the advice, but the MD isn't the entrepreneur is not present and it's been organised by other managers in the company, his EA, and like what I'm trying to get at is how do you manage an entrepreneur who spits the fucking dummy and doesn't want to hand over the reins when it's clearly that's exactly what needs to happen?
You have to manage it slowly. If it's the only thing that we know absolutely needs to happen, you have to manage it slowly and bring in those personal soft skills, understand how and why.
That's what you're so good at.
Pardon?
That's what you're so good at.
Yeah. Because there's a reason why he won't, or they, them, won't let go. There's a reason. What are those reasons? Because they fear the person that they're handing over to? Do they fear revenue's going to come down? There's going to be an issue to look at to help them find comfort. And then, I'll do my thing and work it.
I've learnt that soft skill. I was quite confrontational in my entrepreneur journey. Like, yeah, we're going to do it this way. We're going to stir the system up.
So was I. That was what I said to you.
I'll take a leaf out of his book. Let's go.
Were you like that?
He still is. He still hasn't reformed yet. He hasn't repented from his sins. He's still going, well,
yeah, but you're young.
He's only 30.
Yeah. See, your 30s, I was like a raging bull.
Where do you feel the advisory industry is going with the rise of AI? Are we going to get business advisors built via AI versus your in-depth knowledge, and why you're thinking something? So whatever you're thinking, say it.
We were talking market strategies and having avatars as
Tell me more.
In our marketing strategies. So as you're talking, I'm like, wow, we've already sort of been thinking about that, but that's not taking over the job. Look, definitely a lot of the financial services is going to be taken over by AI. There's no two ways about it. I think you were talking about it
I just posted something this morning. We were actually just talking about doing something with AI on the podcast.
Yeah. It's definitely going to take over. Like I said, we've been discussing with doing marketing, using AI to do our marketing, which will be cost efficient, time efficient, and if you're not TRS staff, if you're not that,
they will be.
If you're camera shy, it might help. But in terms of in financial advisory, the upside for us is that people still want to have that connection.
Yep.
And there will be issues that AI, such as personal stuff, that we also assist with, because there's those personal issues that come into the wealth side of it that, a bot can't do for you. So I think I'm pretty safe.
I think we're all safe. It's a recurring theme in the last 12 months, AI, adaptation. I think it's just going to make us all, I couldn't agree more. It's going to make us more efficient. And it's not going to win you business, but if you don't use it, someone who is using it,
you get left behind.
Will be left behind.
You get left behind, and this is at Deloitte, one of the things that because I was in my own business, so I was one of those complacent business owners, went into Deloitte, and it was about technology and using the best technology, finding the best technology, and so now that's ingrained in my brain. Like wherever I go, are we using the best technology? Are we using the most efficient AI tool now to get our basic admin stuff done? Why are we wasting time on admin stuff?
You don't know what you don't know.
No, and that's what makes a good business leader, because they are out there meeting people and learning from them.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I did want to ask you that.
Yes.
What makes a good business leader? Not just necessarily an MD, but a leader, someone that leads in a company. What's your?
Ooh, a good leader is a role model.
Okay.
A good leader works hard, works smart and hard.
Yep.
A good leader is respectful and inclusive.
Yep.
A good leader will be out in public making connections and learning.
Yep.
A good leader will be on top of any issues in the workplace and address them. Not necessarily personally, but ensure that they, depending on the size of the corporation as well, obviously if you've got 200 people, you're not going to be able to...
I know a couple of people who have sort of that level of employees in their business, and it always fascinates me how little they know about each division. But they know the numbers, they know what's going on, they know but it's more like a feel, like the company's going this way. We've got 200 employees. I say hi to a lot of them. We have a Christmas party. It's like it's like a step of faith, like a leap of faith to keep it all together.
So I as you're talking, I'm thinking of an example. When I was looking at school, changing my daughter's schools, one of the things that I did was sit with the principal, because I fundamentally believe that principal sets the tempo for the school. And the school we settled on, the minute we walked in there, we felt it was the right fit for Valentina. She's a brilliant leader who fortunately, she's moving on. She's been there 15 years as the principal. She's brilliant. If you were to ask her from all the way from ELC to Year 12 about her students, she knows everything about every student, including if there is a little bit of tension between girls. How she knows, I don't know, but she knows.
She just reads the room.
But she's all over every child in her school. And I think profound. She said something, I don't know. She's obviously got great teams supporting her but she actually remembers it as well. And I will draw back to that. They're her students, they're not her employees, but she knows everything about them. I think that's what makes a great leader.
I couldn't agree with you more. Question for you. Do you think being a great leader also you need to be a good listener?
Yes.
And be present in the moment?
You always need to be a good listener.
I haven't always been a good listener.
No.
I've been very excited to talk over people, tell my point of view.
I think that's why we connected as well, because as a youngster I was the same. I was not because I'm a nasty person or I want to talk over people, but I'm excited and I had ideas and I didn't know how to deliver those ideas. So I'm talking over people and and it's like, no, we've got to do this. But actually now, as I've gotten older and I've matured, I say that lightly, James. Still young at heart. No, honestly, I listen. I listen more than I speak now. Actually, you learn a lot more by listening. I actually don't speak as much anymore, which is really quite the opposite of who I was.
One of my jobs on this podcast is to ask questions and shut the fuck up, and make the person on, to have a little video chat feel comfortable enough to just keep talking. That's my job.
What you see is what you get.
Fuck yeah.
I come from a place of kindness and patience, and I expressed this in a firm meeting on Tuesday. We were doing cultural and HR stuff, and it's like the basic fundamentals in life you should live by is being kind and patient. It doesn't mean you're not, what's the word I'm looking for? A beast in business. I'm not just saying that you shouldn't go out there and be the best at what you do, but just be kind to people. So,
I'd even go deeper than that. Be empathetic. Have empathy.
Well, that's
understand.
what kindness is. It is having
Well,
empathy.
I am dyslexic.
I'm sorry, in my mind.
No.
So maybe I'm not.
You have nothing to be sorry for.
No,
I'm just
in
saying
my mind, that's what kindness is. It's being empathetic. It's being putting yourself in someone else's shoes and saying, how are they feeling right now, and how can I help what we're working through.
If you're watching this and you're looking for, business advice on how to run your company more efficiently, or you're wanting to bring in some new ideas, please look up my dear friend here, Dimi. And also, if you're looking for financial advice to do with all the money that you're making, please look up my dear friend. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
This
is thoroughly fun.
I say this. Well, that's what we say. It's fun. Like, come on.
That's what I live by, right? So you got to find your why in life. In business, in everything, but in business, you got to find your purpose.
Absolutely.
It's got to be fun. whilst making your money. So I don't take anything too seriously anymore.
That is the ultimate goal.
It is the
I've
ultimate
thoroughly enjoyed today.
Thank you.
For coming on board.
Thank you for having me. Thanks, James.
Until next time.
And then the next time, yes.